It's me, of course, when I was, I think, 5. And it's my mother. And next to me is my brother, who's 2 years older than me. So there were days that the bakery was coming door to door. So he came with a little van and he was selling the bread. So this guy knew that I had an interest in birds, and in a bag of bread, he brought me one day 2 little chicks, and he had my whole future in his hands, because I became a cook in star restaurants, and I started Cosmopolitan Chicken Project. So I raised those 2 chickens, and it was a hen and a rooster, and we had little chicks. So that's how the story started. This is a living studio where I'm doing the Cosmopolitan Chicken Project. It exists already for 25 years. And the content of the work is actually to crossbreed chickens from different countries. So I select in every country a chicken that tells something about the country. Because for years we were developing chickens like a mirror for human culture. This is a biological sustainable farm. I have other animals where I work with in my art, like dromedary, like llamas, like alpacas, but also ostrich, nandus, and emus, eagles, peacocks, and turkeys. So there is a lot of animals around, and they all interact with each other. Because what I think is very important is that we forget that there is a big relationship to all these species. We are thinking as human that we are standing in the middle of everything and that we are the director of the whole nature. And actually that's not true. We are only one of the players. I'm learning every day. And that, I think it's very interesting for an art piece. I learned, for example, that by crossbreeding, the diversity, the fertility and the immunity increased a lot. And this is not only from a philosophical point of view, but also from a scientific point of view, because we have different players from different fields, professors in science, philosophy, biology, and you know, that's very interesting. They all come to the same conclusion. Crossbreeding gives evolution. The 19th generation, for example, the fertility tripled. You know, from the beginning it was 30%, today we have 90% fertility. Immunity is it's very difficult to have a real proof. But the proof is that now my chickens live for 14, 15 years. And in the beginning it was 5 years. Some people believe and other people are suspicious. And for those that didn't understand, of course, you're an idiot. And for others who understand, they think it's genius. I opened the Open University of Diversity, especially to give people insight in what I'm doing. And I have to say, when people step into this world, they start to understand. There was a moment, of course, that people are thinking that I was cruel. Because if you see all the stuffed chickens, you think this guy is a killer. But actually, I just make a statement of it. I don't kill an animal in my art pieces. I give you a very good example of misunderstanding. On a certain moment, I saw in my garden a rooster which was very quiet. I checked it, and I saw that he lost his spur. The spur is something which is on the leg. A rooster has this to impress female and to fight. So I was very confused because all the others were attacking him. So I had to isolate him alone. Poor guy, you know. I have a very good friend, dentist, specialized in implants. And I asked him, I said, can't we do something, you know, to help this rooster? And he said, yes, we can. Via the new techniques of the implants, we can give him a new spur. And I told him, I said, you know, I want to give him a golden spur. And he was like surprised. I said, yes, because it's a piece of art. And I want to have the perception that this fellow becomes a king. And actually it happens. So he get a golden spur. He came back in his environment. He was proud. And he was again part of the group. But then I received a letter from the animal activists. And they brought me to court. I went to court. I did my display, you know. But then the judge, he said, yeah, listen, the law, you know, we have different points in the law. And one of the points is that you can't put implants or prostheses in chickens. You can burn the wings, you can cut the leg, and you can kill the chicken. And I was standing there, you know, and I looked to the activist and I said, who do you like the most, actually? The one who's restoring or the law? And so the activist said, yeah, well, let's forget this whole case, you know. So I was driving home and I was calling the director of the animal rights, which I know very well. And I called him and I said, you know, why do you actually bring me to court? I mean, you know my project, you know where I'm standing for. I said, you have to change the law, I think, because, you know, the world is changed. I think we should allow prostheses in chickens as well, because there are people who take care of chickens. It's white. I developed it while I'm making it, but I think it's in my head. I think so. But I don't know that. Because that's something which is from inside this thing. Here I only have my own rules, you know? It's something completely different. It's dictated by I don't know. I don't know about what. It's something that's inside, melting with the knowledge, and then afterwards, when it's there, you read it. I think it's something like this. It's actually, you always wait for a mutation. And that's important. It's actually very funny that that I'm afraid to fly and that I'm crossing around the world, and actually the half of my time I'm in an airplane. I do expeditions in the jungle. I had to run in Nicaragua for someone who was with a machete after me. I wake up with a rhino in front of my tent. I was in a situation that cars will fall in the river, that I was blocked for 24 hours and was sitting there. I'm a lot in Africa, I'm a lot in India, I'm a lot in China, and I know what the chicken means in the world. 80% of this population, his diet is chicken. I'm afraid that I'm born as an artist, but I was working in a kitchen, and I choose to be very creative in a kitchen. So I choose not for a regular restaurant, but I choose for 2 and 3 stars restaurants. So I become chef very quickly. I invented like 2 or 3 plates in a day. You know, but I think I made a mistake. Not to go in the kitchen, because I think to go in the kitchen was a great thing. But I was not smart enough. I mixed creativity with art. These are 2 different things. I discovered that I was an artist. That means that art is part of your being. So I discovered that I couldn't live without creation. So the force of creation in that kitchen was that big that I couldn't stop creating. Even when people were asking, yeah, but you know, well, I prefer to have this and this and this, that I was like, yes, but you know, I'm not really thinking about you, what you like. I'm thinking about what I have to create. So my vision becomes too strong, and I couldn't express my vision between knife and fork. On a certain moment, the limit was there. These mushrooms, we made them on a compost made from dung from the dromedary and the chickens, and they take the special enzymes of the dromedary. It increases your immune system, so it's more healthy. So that means if you leave today, you're more healthy than yesterday. Yay! Lucky fish. You're a lucky fish. Look for the beauties. I had to give up the kitchen to become an artist. How heavy it was to give it up. It's hard to break the shelf, but if you break the shelf, you get born. the ideas, so the plans to make things are coming from myself. the paintings, the drawings, it's all coming from myself. But of course, I have a whole team to help me. I have a whole team who can make these things true. Because, you know, we have technical people who can support me. Like, I mean, to stuff a chicken, I mean, that would be ridiculous if I am the one who's stuffing the chicken. There are so brilliant people who can stuff a chicken. There are brilliant people who can make iron or can make bronze. Why should I do that? No, that's not the point. I think it's a team that fight for the same content. My work is very diverse, I have to admit. It's going from one to another, but the content is not so, you know, the content is always talking about bio and culture diversity. And I think the team that we have is standing behind this kind of ideas. And that's very important because we can discuss that on that level, on the level of the content. Freedom.
Freedom of making what you like to make. Knowledge. Liberation. It's full of rules, but it's you make your rules. Art is part of your system. It's like eating and drinking. I like it very explosive because it is the struggle of the energy, you know, of the mix of identities that mix together. And if this is flat and, well, it's simply not my style. And I do it already in a chicken, you know. The chicken is very stylish, I think. It's very aesthetic, you know. Tomorrow I have to finish, because you cannot finish in one. The layers has to dry, and from there you have to examine. But it's quite good, huh? Art is imagination. Science is knowledge. Without imagination, we cannot create knowledge. I'm feeling very, very, very hard that we are living in a time that we were separating those two parts from each other. I think we are in a moment that we have to bring them back together in order to create new things. This is La Biomista, and La Biomista is actually my new studio, and it's like the word say it. It's a mix of life, and it will focus on bio and cultural diversity. So we're starting next month in September, and we hope to be finished for the first part in 3 years, and then we will continuously build on the other parts. I mean, what is so exciting on this place is that we really like to create the relationship with the human, the animals, and the environment. And I think this is so important for the next generations. We drive to the wild area. This is gonna be 10 hectares with wolves. They were here and they are completely extinct. So we will make a colony of wolves with the different national parks in the world, so that we can work also on a breeding programs where we can put wolves on different places in the world. Here we will put some places where people can stay and can watch the wolves, because one of the ideas is also to put tunnels in the ground where the wolves lives in. So the houses that we're gonna construct, they're gonna be and underground and upground. On the lake, we can have the black stork and to build their new population, and we will put big stork nests where people can sleep in, and so where the birds can breed on. This was a formal zoo, and this was the director's house. But actually what we're gonna do here, my different foundations, they will be based in this house. There we will build my studio, which is designed by Mario Botta, and it will be 300 square meters in 3 levels. It's actually a project of love, you know? Because you show love to your environment, that means that you show love towards people as well. So people are joining in love. This is actually what I do. And by doing this, and by being motivated, this is the way how you finance it. And this is the way how you motivated people to take steps in it. And that's the way how it becomes a world center and a new idea for new generations. I think so.
You hope so.
We're making a scale model of La Biomista. We decided on the colors because we like to have a very colorful scale model. It will between abstract and reality. It is an interaction between materials, between ideas and between styles. And I'm very curious to see the result because it's a very big part of the exhibition that I have in Zartmann.
daarin, hè?
40, yeah?
No.
I'm trying to get an overall view on what we are making, which is at the moment not that easy, but it's okay. It will come. It will come. I think the cage is very nice, like this. It has a good dimension. Only the scale model that we have to see what kind of position it will have. The problem is that it will come actually late, and it's such a pity because it's so crucial. I mean, there are two big elements, it's like the cage and the scale model.
Ja, we hebben maar één diagonale stand, we hebben recht voor de diagonale. Hier. They're together a long time. They already have 3 chicks together. So the chicks are old enough now to be on their own because the father and the little roosters already start to fight, you know. So it's time to find their own way, you know. The primal chicken, it's the Adam and Eve of all chickens. So all the chickens in the world originate from this species, you know. So. And they still live now in the jungle. You can find them in the wild, in Nepal and Tibet. They have a jungle there. That's good. If they have a jungle, that's okay. You know, you can walk around, scratch the floor, and they can fly high. They can sleep high. Can be in the trees. You know, they're making a mess, so they feel comfortable. You know? It's like me at home, you know. So
For me, art and science is important because we are really in this time frame that we can have entrance to all kind of knowledge. We can easily ask to the other side of the world, what are you thinking about things? We can bring all this knowledge together, and out of this knowledge we can filter something which can be very, very, very helpful for the world. And I think we have to take that chance.